Yeah, crazy.
All right. How you guys doing today? To this evening?
The kids.
Nice to see y'all.
Likewise.
Awesome. You guys have a good week so far?
All of Monday up.
Awesome.
Oh, right?
All of Monday. I should say you have a good weekend leading into the good week.
Good week since last week. They're all good weeks. It's all just expansion.
That's right.
So I'm going to try and be energetic tonight, but I'm not feeling super energetic tonight. I'm going to come clean right away. Yeah, I was actually just feeling really dizzy a couple of minutes ago. So I just laid down for a bit and, but then I sat up and I was okay. So I'm here.
And we're here.
Hey.
Thanks for being patient, letting me have 5 minutes to be dizzy.
You might need to go have a nap.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think I've been fighting something. Like I felt that since I got back. Yeah, since like last Friday, it's been on and off, and then I feel better, and there's been a lot going on, and haven't really had space to actually fully rest. So I'll think I'm good, and then I'm like, oh shit! Like I was totally fine. I was reading to the kids, and all of a sudden I was like, I need to lie down right now. Sorry, children. So it's all good. But yeah, welcome everyone. So glad to be here with you guys. And tonight, I think we have some good juicy stuff that's I don't know. I love the way that the universe is always just teaching us and sort of extracting out of perfectly normal moments absolute gems and jewels of realizations and awarenesses that we weren't able to have before. So tonight, I wanted to explore kind of an ego trip. I think that we all entertain without maybe being totally aware that it's an ego trip, because it may seem like a reverse ego trip, but it's the ego trip of constantly believing that you're less than, or constantly believing that you haven't arrived yet, or that you have more to do, or there's higher levels to get to, right? So believing I'm not good, or I'm not good enough yet, or even the reverse passive aggressive, well, I may be pretty good, but other people are far better than me, is a complete and total illusion. And really, it's just it's another obviously, but it's another way that the ego, it's like a false humility, right? You ever had this where someone gives you a compliment and you're like, oh yeah, but you're great too. Or, oh yeah, but we're all one, so that means you're just as great as me, right? This not being able to accept the greatness that is within us, right? It's an ego trip. So that's it. It's like, what if we moved through life, through our day, through our businesses, through our relationships, from a place of as though that you couldn't fail, instead of this constant playing out of trying to stay safe, right? It's me staying safe. Like, okay, I'll do this thing, but how do I do it safely, right? And it's so subtle. It's funny. Even when we take a quote unquote big leap into doing something, notice how there's always an unconscious agenda from the ego of like, yeah, I'll do this, but how do I still guarantee that I'm going to be safe, right? Where the reality is it's totally okay to not know what you're doing. It's totally okay to feel lost. It's totally okay. I mean, that's it. It's the only way to move through life in a way that you can't fail. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but this is where I really want to go deeper tonight is that it's all totally okay, right? Oh my God, I'm getting hot now.
Take it off.
Rod was just saying to the kids, he's like, every time we do these calls, we get so hot. Yeah. I came out tonight, I was like, I'm freezing. I don't think I'm going to get hot, but there it is. Can you guys feel the energy? I feel it. It's definitely moving.
And that's it, right? It's really experiencing all of the emotions, no matter what they are, and then knowing that that's all a part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that, oh, I need to be super excited or super happy all the time, where sometimes the contemplative, the sad, the reflective state is exactly what we need in that moment. And it's not pushing it away or trying to positively think our way to something better, but knowing that that's all a part of the process and it's all very normal.
Mm-hmm. So we need to move in a way like that that the universe will not let us fall. And if we move from a place that we can't fall or we can't fail, or if we're moving from a place that we're afraid that we're going to fail, we actually don't let the universe in. Again, you're totally controlling. That's what I'm talking about, the ego trip, right? You're actually totally surrendered and controlling, thinking that that's making you safe, right? So again, the question is like, how do you move then? Like nothing will let you fall. And the only way to do that is by totally surrendering to the value that is in you. So again, most of us walk around thinking that, okay, once I accomplish this, or once I learn to do this differently, or once I perfect this, or this is what I have to do, or this is what I have to accomplish in the world before I can recognize my unlimited value. So instead of putting ourselves through this like obstacle course of what do I have to do now, or what's the criteria that I need to be meeting, can you accept that right here, right now, with no one else watching other than just us on the call, that you can decide to recognize and acknowledge your unlimited value that is inside of you right now. It's always been there from the moment you were born. So again, feel the power of like, I accept that I always have been and I always will be filled with unlimited value. And if that doesn't feel real to you, or it feels like, no, that sounds like a nice idea, but, or can I really believe that? Or whatever voice is coming up, just realize the only reason why that's coming up is because you haven't been trained to see it, right? It's your subconscious is actually not familiar with it. So I don't know if I've talked about this before, but it's like, whatever your subconscious isn't familiar with, it immediately dismisses. Right? So when I want to go learn a new language, I literally have to communicate to my subconscious, okay, this is what we're doing. Pay attention to Spanish. And then I'll start picking up Spanish all over the place, right? But if I don't command that to my subconscious mind just dismisses it all because it literally just doesn't recognize it.
Yeah, it's like, have you guys ever heard that saying is like, a confused mind will always say no. So it's really being able to communicate with your subconscious to let it know exactly what you're doing and what you're intending to experience.
So if I start looking for it more often, instead of telling myself all the things that I need to do right now, or all the things that I suck at, because we're usually pretty well versed in that, what if I started looking for my inherent value within myself and understand that I have a right to see it and to embrace it right now? So even without any need to do anything right, because the reality is you actually can't do anything wrong. Everything that you do and everything you've done into your life, whether you've judged it as right or wrong, is what's brought you to this very moment, into everything that you are in your life. And it was supposed to be different, it would have been different, right? So if you were to focus every day on, I'm going to recognize that there is value inside of me, what would happen is you would start to bring your light and it would start to shine and you would start to be of service to the world in a way that your mind could actually never imagine. And you would start to create a safe space for other people to bring that light out in them. Because when you start to accept that you are inherently valuable, you actually create a safe space for other people to feel that as well. You literally create a new bubble of energy that hasn't been there before. So the highest service you could be to people is just recognizing how beautiful you are, how amazing you are. It is of the highest service to all of the people you know for you to recognize how talented you are. Because every time you recognize your beauty and your talent, you allow other people with beauty and talent that is going unrecognized to start to wake up to their true self as well. So like a fun little thing we started doing as a family is when we did this totally unprompted, it was like, hey, Xavier, tell me 5 things that you love about yourself. Astara, tell me 5 things you love about yourself. Daddy, tell me 5 things you love about yourself. And then the kids just like actually rolled with that, right? Then all of a sudden Xavier's like, okay, Astara, you tell me 5 things that you love about me.
Yeah.
And that you love about Daddy and that you love about Mommy. And then we'll go and we'll say 5 things about each other. And it was funny because the more that they got into it, the more they were like, they went far beyond 5, right? And it was really fascinating because it just shifted. They were kind of in this like bored state, and it just shifted to this like sense of limitless creativity, right? You could see that the moment that, well, any of us focus on the value that is within us and what we actually appreciate about ourselves, all these doors that you didn't even know were in you start to open up and you start to have access to them. So one of the most powerful things you can do, it's not about transcending your personal self and like being better, but it's actually just expressing self-love.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's just a matter of really expressing the self-love.
Because again, we do it all day, all the time, so nonchalantly about all the things that we're doing that we've disappointed ourselves in, right? The mind is so good at that. And like that's somehow that's going to make us better. But it's actually only kept us, it's funny, it only ever kept us resonating with pain. Because whatever you're expressing to your subconscious starts to resonate in your emotional field. And then you start to draw more of that to you, right? So then you start seeing other people around you who are in pain. You start hearing more pain stories, and or imagine you start the day every day realizing, hey, maybe self-mastery is actually self-esteem. Not because something outside of me is happening or because I've accomplished something, but just self-esteem because there's unlimited value that's maybe never been expressed or explored within me. Because I am a reflection of the unlimited source that is all around me. So your form, your identity, your personality, your individuality is just the light which is expressing itself in the world. So for your energy to become powerful, so much more powerful enough to create change, to heal the planet, to even change your daily experience, you have to be able to feel good about yourself.
Even the dynamics within your household, with your spouses, with your partners, within your business partners, it all starts from us, right?
So the reason why, it's funny, we were talking about this earlier, like a narcissist, it'll seem like someone like Donald Trump, it'll seem like they're accessing some sort of law of attraction to work in their favor. They may not know who they are. They may not be heart-centered, but they know how to feel good. They can lead, someone like that can lead with confidence. Because you can see that even though he's massively insecure, he does embrace some sort of value within him, right? He really believes that, or people like him really believe that, right? So there's a certain cultivation of power in just admitting that there is value within you, whether anybody else recognizes it or not, right? So think about it. You know who you are. You're aligned with authenticity, but you just don't know how to feel good about yourself because you're too busy feeling the pain of other people, whether that's through empathy or that's what a lot of us are doing, right? It's like consciously or not, we try to heal or help people by feeling their pain. And that's because most of us have spent most of our lives in pain. Most of us have been raised to not be okay with, because you're afraid of becoming arrogant, right? So what you need to do is to figure out, how do I feel good about me? How do I start to feel that there is unlimited value and that I have the right to recognize it? Sorry, Star's here. What's up, babe? You okay? You're okay. Can you do me a favor and just go into bed with your brother? Okay. You want to lay down right here?
Yeah.
It's very bright though. You may want to flip the other way. So yeah, this isn't arrogance, right? Arrogance is a play of comparison. Arrogance is, I'm so great because you're not. Or I'm so great, I'm so much greater than all those people that are less than me. Or I see people that are failing in my eyes, and that makes me feel like I'm doing a better job. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is just the confession that there is value within you. And as soon as you admit that, guess what? There's value within you. So when you say that there's value within you, you become, within the eyes of the universe, something incredibly powerful. When you say there's value within you, you change your form in relationship to the universe. You actually become abundant. Because abundance is just the recognition of value. So one who is abundant is just someone who's brimming with fortune and value, right? So for you to admit that you contain value means that you now energetically are activating your own vibrational sphere of abundance. Can you feel that? The more you recognize your value, the more life you can bring and add to the world, and the more you actually enhance your own value. But again, you have to recognize it first so life can confirm it on the outside of you. And that's the energetic of creating self-esteem. To have good self-esteem, we have to find greater and greater worth. And then all of a sudden, all of the resources and the synchronicities and the partnerships and the fulfillment and whatever you could possibly ever need starts to manifest on the outside of you. So your manifestation of prosperity is just your embodiment of your worthiness, of your worth that you have cultivated within yourself, right? It's a benchmark of how much of your essence is manifested in that physical form. When you're walking around feeling shitty about yourself or not feeling good enough, or I'm not there yet, how much of your essence is actually being manifested in the world? It's like a trickle, right? So all abundance is just the manifestation of self-worth.
That's a big one. Or not big, but that's a great point, right? All abundance is a manifestation of self-worth.
So when you say that I accept the value exists within me and I'm filled with unlimited value, you're saying yes to you. You're saying yes to you. Do you see? Do you feel the full acceptance of yourself? I accept that there's unlimited value within me. It's a complete and total surrender and acceptance of yourself. And now the universe can say yes to supporting you in that new energy. Mm-hmm. But you have to say yes to you first, right? It's almost like you have to feel the ego trip. You have to get over yourself. You have to get over the its that want to scream that, oh, I'm not ready yet, or it's not time yet, or
when am I going to be ready?
Or other people are better than me, or I'll never be able to do it as good as them, or, right? It's all irrelevant. So like right now, just say yes. Yes, there is inherent value within me. Just say it and notice how that feels inside of your body. Yes, I am the very definition of prosperity because there is inherent value within me. Otherwise, you're working on yourself as a form of self-judgment, right? Notice how personal development can actually be the biggest form of self-criticism, right? When is it that you've done enough work on yourself that you finally say, okay, good. I'm filled with unlimited value. I'm a creative genius now. Like, when's the line? How do you know that you've done enough work on yourself? Right? So again, just feel this. Yes, I'm filled with unlimited value. I am a creative genius. I'm gorgeous. I'm fiercely interesting. And feel how, again, your subconscious may be rejecting it, but as you continue to say it, even though your subconscious may reject it because it's not familiar with it, you're like, oh, I've never heard that before. This is not familiar to me. Eventually, as you keep saying it, you start to train your nervous system that it's okay to feel good about yourself. And once that happens, you've got your nervous system on board. You've activated a whole new vibration within you, right? Now you've actually, can you feel the speed that gets picked up with that, right? Because your body is on board. Your body is the subconscious, right? This is how you're literally co-creating your life. You're creating a new reality by training your nervous system to something new. It's okay to love who you are. You just got to keep it balanced, right? Be proud of who you are and be very interested in others and who others are as well. Right? Again, narcissists are just fiercely interested in themselves and not others. The balance is, though, again, for most of us, we're so out of balance the other way. The balance is, I actually feel good about myself. You feel good about you. Right? It's an imbalance to only care about yourself and not others. And it's also an imbalance to also care about others and to not care about yourself. So one of the highest levels to live at and is to be free to own the value of who you are. And people shy away from it thinking it's humility, but it's entrapment. You're entrapped in a battle of ego, right? So think for yourself for a second. When people give you a compliment, can you receive it? Or do you kind of receive it on the outside and go, yeah, thank you very much. But then on the inside, you're not receiving it at all, right? Because there's the like verbal receiving, but then there's the physical receiving. Or can you say, if somebody says to you, wow, you're an absolute genius. You're amazing. Can you accept the compliment and really say, thank you so much. I really appreciate you seeing me and recognizing my value. So as you start to love yourself more, as you start to train yourself to feel good, your thoughts start to become pure. It's funny. I would almost say that building your self-esteem is just as important, if not more powerful, than actually doing meditation. Because a lot of people will sit there and meditate feeling shitty about themselves the whole entire time. But when you embrace that there is inherent value within you, you are amazing, you are beautiful, you are a creative genius, you are so unique. Your mind actually starts to become a helper and not a hindrance. That whole war of like, I'm afraid I gotta get through this thing, that just goes away because you've trained yourself to feel good and your mind falls into line with that and continues. Your ego goes out and actually finds more evidence and brings it to you about how great you are and how there is inherent value in you. Again, because right now in this moment, there's no one preventing you from feeling good about yourself. There's absolutely no one here to stop you. Notice that in every moment of your day, there's no one around you preventing you from feeling good about yourself. So why are we jumping all over that? Like, I could just sit here and literally be like, I'm fucking killing this right now. Like, damn. No one has to know. But again, think of how much more value I have to offer you if I actually felt that about myself versus like, I hope everybody likes me and I hope this doesn't suck. Oh my God, they probably think I'm terrible. You see how all the focus is now on me rather than actually being of service to you? So again, on the inside, I can think I'm amazing. I could think I'm a superhero with superhuman abilities, and no one ever needs to know about it. No one is here stopping me from praising the amazing light that is within me. And no one is here to stop you from praising the amazing light that is within you. It's funny. It's like, everybody does the whole namaste thing. The light within me bows to and acknowledges the light within you. And people say it all the time, like it's so cliche. But do you really hear that? Like, do you really feel that? What it's saying is, I'm recognizing the inherent value within you. Are light in physical form. And then we leave yoga and get into our college and feel shitty about ourselves about how we didn't have good balance that day, or
I didn't hold that posture.
I didn't hold that, right? Exactly.
It was shaky.
Right? Or somebody else is so much better than me, I'll never be as good as them. So you could start to have the best days of your life literally doing nothing but reveling in your own beauty. And rather than being arrogant, that would actually be incredibly therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're heart-centered, this will not inflate your ego. It actually levels you out. People that are open-hearted but don't feel good about themselves on a regular basis are those people that you meet and you're like, holy shit, they're super socially awkward, right? You've met tons of people that are super sweet, but you just want to get out of a conversation with them because they're so awkward. That's the symptom of being open-hearted and pure and feeling shitty about yourself most of the time. So it is of highest importance that you spend time feeling good about you. And that I spend time feeling good about me. And this will start to activate your intuition and your psychic gifts, because the more that you say, and I mean, not only that, but so many things that your mind can't even imagine right now, because as you continue to say and to own, I recognize there is inherent value within me, then all your valuable skills inside of you start to wake up. And if you don't recognize your value, life knows that you're not ready to add value to the world. So there's no reason to open those doors. And you just keep waking up every day thinking, oh, another day, just another boring day. Same shit. Different day, same shit, right? That's a clue right there that you're completely not acknowledging that there's extreme value within you. Because when you are embracing and feeling good about yourself, there is no, what is it? Different day, same shit. I don't even know what
different
to say.
Day.
Same shit, different day.
Same thing, different day. I don't know.
Isn't that funny? It was literally deleted out of my mind. Isn't that amazing? I love us. Are we amazing beings? It's just gone, delete. You don't need this shit anymore, right? So when you say I'm full of unlimited value, life says to you, oh, all of the valuable stuff inside of them is ready to come out and play. And like a temp agency, life will put you exactly where you need to be. So feel it within yourself. I want you to ask yourself, what is the specific thing that you need to feel good about yourself right now? Is it I'm filled with unlimited value? Is it I'm talented? Is it I have a higher purpose? I'm uniquely creative. I'm incredibly skilled. I'm beautiful. I'm sexy.
Or even as simple as I love myself.
And here's how you know you're actually getting close to the one that you really need to focus on. It kind of embarrasses you a little bit. You want to shy away from it. It makes you feel uncomfortable. Because embarrassment is just the part of yourself that the ego has been protecting that is now coming out of hiding. So feel how whenever you've been embarrassed, there's a purity there. It's the ego dissolving to expose the part of you that has been behind the ego's shield for so long. So feel, it's just a very innocent thing. So what is the compliment you would actually love to receive, but even if someone gave it to you, you would secretly deny it on the inside? They'd be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And you'd be like, no,
Not me.
no.
Or if they say you're handsome
Or
or handsome. 'Cause we got Dan.
insanely sexy.
Yeah, there you go.
Or brilliant. For me, it was actually smart. It's funny. It's like I had a thing about like, for whatever reason, I wasn't allowed to be, because I don't know, I didn't have great grades in school. So it's like I wasn't qualified to be smart. So whenever somebody say, oh wow, that was so smart, or we did it so smart, I'd be like, oh, they feel sorry for me. They must see that I have some insecurity about being smart and they're trying to overcompensate to make me feel better about myself. Like, look at that crazy story, right? Like they don't, it's so insane, but I would actually believe that, right? And I would go on with my life and not realizing that I was just using that as an excuse not to feel good about myself. So what do you need to feel good about you? Because the moment that you start to feel good, you become an activated being of light.
I guess that's a question too. Do you want to be an activated being of light?
Well, what's the opposite? What's the
In the shit.
well?
Super grumpy,
Mm-hmm.
depressed.
Yeah, which it's funny. Even if you're not super grumpy and depressed, boredom is another, or just like we were saying,
The constant
same
chase.
different day, same shit,
Same shit, different day. Yeah.
or I'm not there yet, or
When am I gonna send?
just being so used to not feeling good about yourself,
Yeah.
right? But here's the thing, it's feeling good about yourself is what's actually, you need to feel good about yourself to be able to cope with how talented you are. So think about this. Think about musicians or athletes that are incredibly talented, but their life is a friggin' disaster because they can't actually cope. They don't like themselves. So as long as they're getting the constant love and even though they don't know how to actually receive it, the moment it's gone, they have no identity and they're just pursuing whatever it is, right? The house, the cars, the drugs. And at some point, the house is a prison. The drugs don't get you high anymore. There's no sense of fulfillment in all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't feel good about yourself, you can't actually cope with the level of success that your inherent value is going to take you to. You have to feel good about yourself to be able to handle the miraculous pressure of having such amazing gifts inside of you. And that's the game of mastery. Because when you're sharing your value, what are you doing? Whatever it is, right? You're putting out this huge wave of energy out into the world. And people who then receive it send that back to you, magnified tenfold. And you have to be able to take it. And that's it. Most of us are so comfortable with giving it, but we can't take it. So again, mastery is, that's what feeling good about yourself prepares you to be able to do. To receive back tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold what you give out. Right? We all know about the law of giving. It's like whatever you give out, you get back 10, 100, 1,000. And we say, oh, we want that. But if you don't feel good about yourself, you can't actually receive it. And if you give out positive energy and you don't take it in equally, the energy that you give to the world has no permanent effect. But if you can take it in, what you've given out, what you've put out, and you're able to receive it back, everything that you do has a permanent effect on the people that you've helped. So me loving myself is of greatest service to you. Because if I didn't love myself, any of these calls would have no permanent effect on you or your life. So you're welcome.
She'd be too busy trying to validate herself through the experience that you guys are receiving from it all, or myself, right?
So self-esteem is actually a totally selfless thing. Because for the energy that you're putting out to have a long-lasting effect, you have to be able to receive whatever you're putting out. You have to then be able to receive what I give you. And that's not very easy when you've been trained your whole life to feel bad about yourself. Right? So the work at hand, and let's do a little repeat after me, is I just want you to say it. I am filled with unlimited value.
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 And that's what you have to affirm to yourself every single day, or whatever words resonate with you. Because what you're saying to the universe is, I'm ready to be activated, and I'm ready to be awakened, and I'm ready to be of higher purpose, and I'm ready to be put into my greatest potential. Then the universe can guide and orchestrate for you without you having to do any of it or be in charge of any of it. So what's your job? Your job is to feel good about yourself, and the universe's job is to do everything else. So when you're around other people, what's your job? Your job is the same. It's to feel good about yourself and to also feel good about them. And it can be so easy and lighthearted, right? It's like, oh, there's unlimited value within you. There's unlimited value within you. See, you're not always going to get this response though, especially from strangers, although you might. That was a wet. Thank you very much. Oh, see? Oh my gosh, instant manifestation. You got to be able to take it back.
You guys gotta watch this.
Oh my God.
You better, or Santa's gonna come at your house. You better watch out. You better not cry, or Santa's gonna look at you.
Right. I don't even know what to say after that. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
Okay, my guys, let's finish right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Indeed. You ready now? Say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night. Can you go into bed now? Okay. Go into bed.
Got the nice glasses all foggy.
See you guys
Love
next
you.
time.
It's like love and creepiness all at the same time. It's like a horror film. So
A
there's a
little,
lot of
no.
love. Go.
Good night, guys.
Bye, Emily.
So as I was saying, you could say to someone, oh, there's unlimited value within you. And they can go, oh, that's not true. And you know in that moment, that's just their mind saying, I've never heard that before. Or you're so incredible. Or spending time with you has been so life-changing for me. And they're like, oh, it wasn't that amazing. Or, and you realize it's not that they can't, they're, notice how you feel in that moment and need to like, oh no, but please accept it, right? But if you can recognize, that's why you're saying it to them. You're saying it to them just as you've been working on yourself, getting yourself used to hearing it. That's why you're saying it to them. Hey, Astara, sweetie. Astara, that's really loud. Thank you. Their subconscious has to just get used to hearing it as well. And because of the unity and the oneness that is inherently the truth beneath all of it, we receive the purity of what we give. So instead of having to wait for people to give it back, where you're like, you're so amazing.
Oh,
Okay, my turn.
you too.
Right? You don't actually need for them to give it back.
Yeah.
You fill them up, whether they receive it or not. And you fill them up, whether they reciprocate it or not. Because just by giving, you fill yourself up. By being of value, you create a space of value. you create a space where it's safe for them to experience their inherent value. We just give from the purity of our hearts. Because when we give, we're training our own subconscious minds to be even more familiar with value. So if we just all went around offering well-being and compliments to the world, people would start to find greater value in themselves. It's just like children. This is what we do raising children, right? You give them compliments and you boost them up so they feel safer in their world, and they actually start being able to take more risk.
Yeah. Well, imagine raising a child and all you do is beat them up and verbally abuse them and telling them how not so good they are and how they should be doing better. Yeah, right? Compared to acknowledging them, their greatness, their value, how much they're loved, how safe they are. Imagine how they would grow up to be about themselves. Thanks, babe. Right? It's the same how we're treating ourselves at any given moment. Are we abusing ourselves? Are we uplifting ourselves?
And that's it. It's when you commit yourself to being well-being and offering well-being, you're going to notice that the people around you become more positively proactive in their own lives. We don't have to, again, we're usually living, like unconsciously living this thing where it's like, I have to be perfect, or everyone's just trying to be perfect or trying to think that they're totally together or living their best life. But you don't have to be perfect or earn something just so you can feel good about yourself. The perfection starts to unfold from the inside out. So affirm the positive. Make the people around you feel capable, so they expand their horizons, right? Again, it's just like we do with kids. We make them feel capable, so they expand their horizons and they want to try more, right? So why don't we do that to the adults around us?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's cool. Oh, can you grab me that book over there?
Yeah.
When I was thinking about what we're going to talk about tonight, and I went out with the kids. I went to Whole Foods and I found this book, The World According to Mr. Rogers. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I just picked it up. And then tonight I opened it for the first time. And I opened it right at this page 137. And this is what he says. As human beings, our job in life is to help people realize how rare and valuable each one of us really is. That each of us has something that no one else has or ever will have. Something inside that is unique to all time. It's our job to encourage each other to discover that uniqueness and to provide ways of developing its expression. So again, right? Like, it's so funny. What did I do? What did I do this week? I focused on my unlimited value. That's it. I focused with my children on their unlimited value. And then I pick up this book. And do you see how immediately my subconscious directed my ego to go pick up a book that will just reconfirm exactly what I've been cultivating within myself?
Mm-hmm.
It's so immediate. It's so amazing, right? So what are the odds that you feeling better about yourself emotionally is going to start telling your body to work more efficiently and functionally? Because you know what the body needs alongside of nutrition and vitamins and all of that is love and worthiness. And you can't get more worthiness into you through an IV or a pill. It has to be cultivating. So feeling good about yourself promotes wellness. Feeling bad about yourself is literally bad for your health. And I would argue it's probably worse for you than eating junk food. When I look at a lot of my illness, my quote unquote autoimmune issues, it came from years of attacking myself. My body was so used to going to war because my mind was so used to going to war with myself, right? And I'm not talking about a fake it till you make it, because your mind is going to initially reject it, right? It's just realizing that your mind hasn't had enough time to accept that it's true. So it takes practice. It takes repetition. You introducing a higher vibration to your subconscious mind. You're going to be saying things to your subconscious mind that it has not heard before. But you say to your subconscious mind, no matter how much you reject this, I'm going to tell you this so often that it's going to become so familiar to you. And the more familiar it becomes to you, then your subconscious mind starts to tell your emotional body, you have permission to resonate with this, right? It's like we only know something is true when we feel it. Well, that's what you have to do, right? Is you have to condition the subconscious mind to direct the emotional body to start resonating with you feeling good about yourself as something that is true. And then your emotional body only resonates with whatever your subconscious mind approves of, right? This is why, again, often, what's the word? Like positive affirmations without a real commitment to it doesn't go anywhere, because your subconscious mind, if it's not approving of it, it completely dismisses it. And that's where you feel, you know, when you've done positive affirmations and you actually feel no connection to it, this is showing you your subconscious mind is already completely gone against whatever you're trying to do, right? But your subconscious mind will only approve of things that you tell it consistently. It has to hear it consistently. So this is not faking it, but you're introducing a new vibrational reality through your words to communicate with yourself at a much higher level. So you can say to your subconscious mind, you can disagree all you want, but I'm not going to stop until you tell the emotional body to start feeling this way. Newsflash, things are changing around here. And that's how you start to create your reality. You start to become the conscious observer inside of your body. And you start to decide how I want this mechanism to work. So I'm going to say a lot of embarrassing things to myself that I probably don't like. And I'm going to start to feel outrageously positive about myself. And my subconscious mind is mercilessly going to disagree, but I am not going to relent. And eventually my subconscious mind is going to say, well, that's not new and that's familiar. And I recognize that. And that's going to open the door to the emotional body. And then it's going to start resonating with you. And it's going to become normal in your nervous system to feel good about yourself. And then your ego, which is not a bad thing, it should just be a servant to your consciousness, goes out into your reality and looks for evidence in all kinds of ways to match what your emotional body now feels. So that's how you reprogram your energy field and rewrite your subconscious mind. It takes time and it takes consistency and it takes commitment. And we're not here to get rid of the programs and the conditioning. What we're here to do is we're here to decide how we want to be conditioned and how we want to be reconditioning ourselves. And probably the biggest and most important reconditioning you could do for yourself is to feel good about you.
Amen, sister.
So that's it. You decide, okay, I get up in the morning. What am I going to do? I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to go on as I've been going on, or I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to decide, what value am I offering to the world today? And realizing that your value starts with you. What value am I going to offer to the world today? My self-esteem, my self-love. And in the privacy of my own mind, without anybody having to be there to agree or disagree, I'm going to start to recognize the inherent value that is within me. And again, you're going to notice and to stay with it, right? You may go 1 whole day, 2 whole days, and you're like, not feeling it, totally not connecting to this. Oh, must be so easy for everybody else, right? Watch the mental chatter that comes up, right? Oh, and just to recognize, oh, this is what my mind is doing. My ego, which is the servant to the subconscious, this is showing me my subconscious is completely unfamiliar with this. That's okay. I'm just going to keep going. There is inherent value within me. You see how this is, we did the I am abundance in the abundance course. You see how this is fundamentally the root underneath I am abundance, or the cousin to I am abundance. I am inherently valuable. So how are you guys feeling with this? Is this resonating?
That was awesome. Good job.
The ego likes that.
I knew her ego would like that.
No, but it's not the ego. Because
No, I know. I'm just bugging you.
I know. And again, notice that you bring up a good point though, or you maybe said a good point about the ego. The ego would go, yeah, see, I'm better than you because I just did that, right? Versus recognizing the inherent value. By me recognizing the inherent value within myself, can you feel the difference? Okay, you've ever given someone a compliment and you knew it fed their ego versus giving somebody a compliment and it actually brings you into deeper presence? Because you ever given a compliment to someone who's totally insecure and they use that to build themselves up? Or even for yourself, right? You're insecure about something and you get, and you either use it to build yourself up or you completely dismiss it. Right? It's fascinating what we do. And you feel the depths of the energetics that are happening here. But it's happening so quickly and we're so used to feeling so shitty about ourselves that we don't even realize what we're doing. We actually think that moment is not important. We're actually just trying to get through that moment. We're like, oh, I just want to get past this because I'm so uncomfortable with this compliment. Right? So Trish, tell me 5 things you love about yourself.
I'm just going to keep my mouth shut up from now on.
No, because I'm
Okay,
going to tell you 5 things I love
for-
about you.
Oh my God. Okay, 5 things I love. Jeez. When I set my mind to something, I don't quit. I love the fact that I'm in a really good spot right now. But this is a hard one. 5 things. Jeez.
It's not hard. You're just not used to it.
No, I know.
Your subconscious
Okay.
isn't good at going out and finding them. But do you see?
Yeah.
Did you see why this would be an important practice?
Yeah, totally.
Right? So you're so used to actually looking for things to be critical about yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
that's it. Your subconscious is like, oh, use the ego to beat myself up so I'm better. Right? So this is brilliant. This is awesome.
It is.
Right? Because you just showed yourself what you're really used to.
Yep.
Right? So let's give Trish a few and let's see, tell us what makes you feel uncomfortable. And anybody can throw anything out there. But when you look at the essence of Trish, don't necessarily think about it can be anything. But again, when you feel into the essence of Trish,
That's
and we
it.
can
I'm not
start
saying
with, there's inherent value
anymore.
within you. There is limitless value within you. I see the limitlessness and the profound value of who you are.
I love the creativity that flows through you.
You are so incredibly steadfast and grounded and solid and authentic.
And how you're there for your kids, your patience, your awareness, your presence.
And you're really fit.
I don't know how good of a skier you are, but I'm
Not
glad
that
that
good.
you ski.
So what shifted when we went to physical? Just notice energetically what shifted there.
Well, right now, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, because as soon as you said I'm so fit, I'm like, hell yeah, I am right now, right? Whereas the other ones you just kind of accepted, right? Like you just took it in.
Mm-hmm.
So my ego kicked in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's interesting, right? Depending on the subject, how will.
And then when you said about the patience with the kids, I was like, oh, I wasn't tonight. You know, so in all the other ones I could take in, but as soon as you said patience with the kids, then I'm like, then I was, yeah.
So that's a good one for you.
Yeah.
You have infinite patience with your children.
Yeah.
I love how you only see the positive in your kids.
Right.
Can you feel how you were like, well,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
you
no.
weren't around this week.
Yeah. And I think the one at the very beginning of the call, the totally valuable, that one, because I've had 20 minutes to sit here, half an hour, whatever time it is, and an hour, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, that one, right? That's a good one. Now I feel like I am. But at the beginning of the call, I was like, oh, I'm not there yet, right? Like, so yeah.
So everywhere you're doing the I'm not there yet, you're doing the greatest disservice.
Right. I totally
to everyone
get that.
in your life, including yourself.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. Actually, this is probably for me. I mean, I've had lots of awesome calls with you guys, but this one was really, really, yeah, hit the nail on the head. Actually, and how to tie it back in, like last week we talked about feeling profound love for yourself, right? It actually, the underlying part of it, because as soon as you started talking about it tonight, was to realize how valuable you are. That was the kind of the under, yeah, because then it was literally like as soon as we started talking, it was like dominoes. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
And notice, like, when you start a new business, you don't feel valuable at all. You're like, I'm the noob. I don't know anything. I can't wait to be valuable. Right? Imagine going into something knowing there is profound inherent value within you. And you're not there to get. You can't wait for everyone to discover the profound value that you're offering.
Right.
To that organization, that bit, like, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Super powerful.
Yeah, because imagine you go into any new business venture or any new project and you just own who you are, own your value, own your skill set, own your experience without trying to gain anything. You're gain stuff along the way, right? But you own just who you are. So your presence alone impacts significantly. And people just want to be around you because you're not trying to get something. You're there to just show up and give and share, as opposed to, what can I learn today? What can I soak up? What's next? What do I take it to the next level?
Think of how this works in terms of attractiveness, right? You're like, oh, I'm not so sure about me, so you probably shouldn't bother, right? Versus someone who's like, I love me. I'm amazing to spend time with. How much more attractive that person. I know I'm a good time, so I know you'll have a good time with me, right?
Yeah.
Again, I mean, relationships or business or whatever, right? Like, why is it that you want to work with certain people and you're really disappointed when you're teamed up with other people? Who are you disappointed with? The people who don't own their value. Sorry.
Makes me think of that stage exercise we did that one time. I don't think we did it with this group, but where you visualized yourself on the stage.
Yeah.
Where you were like the nut bar and then you were the cool person, you know, and which the audience liked more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Might do that another day with you guys.
Be the nut bar.
Be the nut bar. The stage experience.
Yeah. But I mean, anything other than I'm offering tremendous value is I'm not used to feeling good about myself. Anyone who's awkward, anyone who's or the opposite needs to dominate it's the same stick either end, right? I want to disappear, or I want all the attention and the reflection of how amazing I am. Right? You know, people that talk a lot but actually offer no value. They just keep talking, hoping something good's going to come out of their mouths, right? And you're like, well, that was a waste of an hour and a half, right? So that's the whole fight or flight thing, right? Yeah. How about you, Caressa? Are you going to make us wait? I've had this whole conversation with my daughter this week. She'll be like, help me. Oh, can you wait? I'm like, listen, if you're going to ask for my help, you're not going to make me wait. But I'll wait for you, girl. I'll wait for you. Because I called on you. So fair is fair.
Okay, sorry, I had to leave the room. I had people coming in before and the TV's on out there, and you'll have to hear all kinds of stuff if I try to talk out there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'll come to the silent room where you can just hear me. Okay, so what do you want from me?
Did you notice, where did you notice you're really, is there a discomfort that you have about accepting some part of yourself?
Yeah, I would say a lot of parts are uncomfortable. I've always kind of struggled with like accepting compliments. I think in all different kinds of ways. I would say probably one of the only things I don't have a problem with is like friendship. If somebody said, you know, like that I really listened to them, or I helped, you know, them by listening to them, being a good friend, being loyal, that kind of stuff, I think I accept more so than like a personal compliment.
So what's the
Definitely.
difference between that and a personal compliment? Why is that acceptable or more easily digestible?
I think because I feel like if I'm being a friend to them or I'm listening to them, it's almost like I feel like because I'm doing something for them, it's more about them than me. Even though they're giving me the compliment, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
So that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because you lost me there.
But it makes me feel like I'm doing something more for them. So it's not about me, it's about them. So to me, that's more acceptable.
So you can accept it because you've given first? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
what I'm getting from Caressa is that it's like it's through an act that she feels valuable. She has to act on the service to feel like she's valuable, versus seeing the value of just being without doing a service. Does that make sense?
Or do you accept it actually because you want to make them feel comfortable? Is there a part of you that actually accepts it because you're like, well, I did this nice thing. The natural, like, kind human thing to do would be to thank me for it. And if I don't accept the compliment, now I make them uncomfortable again. So do you accept it for their sake and not even your own?
Probably sometimes. Yes, I was told once, because I always, like I said, if somebody gives you a compliment of any kind, it was always like you said before, like, oh yeah, but, or, you know what I mean? There's always a comeback. And somebody had said to me one time, they're like, you just need to say thank you. Even if you're not really accepting it, you need to say thank you, or it's an insult to that person.
Right.
So yes, I think sometimes I do that just to make the other person feel good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, isn't it? It's just, and again, do you see how when you reframe it as like, oh, because it's framed in humility, but when you realize it's the huge ego trip, it makes it so much less attractive to do. It's so like, manipulative. Like the ego is so sneaky and manipulative. Like, because in a way for you, that's its way of confirming, oh, I'm a good person. Instead of you owning what an amazing person you are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be interesting as you start to cultivate this feeling good about yourself for no reason, what kind of reactions you start actually eliciting from people outside of you. And if those compliments change in frequency or in type.
In depth too.
In depth, yeah. It'd be really interesting to notice that, right?
Yes.
It's interesting too, is like, I don't know if you guys have ever went out with someone for dinner or lunch or breakfast and they offered to pay. And then you're like, oh, no, I got this. I got it. Don't worry about it. Right? It's like in that moment that they're really wanting to give to you, we've robbed them from the experience of giving because we're too much. No, don't worry. I can take care of my own bill or whatever. Right? Instead of just allowing ourselves just to get taken care of and know that they're doing it because they really want to.
And us not receiving, that's us reconfirming I need to stay small. I'm not really, like, I want to help people, but I'm not really ready to help people because you're not really ready to help yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't possibly draw to you. And this is what I see all the time, like, especially in the spiritual circles, like, I want to open a healing center and like heal the world. No, you don't.
I like how she go like this.
Heal the world with my crystals, meditation, namaste. But that's it, because you feel so shitty about yourself. You actually have nothing to offer because everything you do offer is tied with this is actually what's fueling my self-esteem. Right? It's actually total narcissism and arrogance. Right? I just find it hilarious. Isn't it so great to be able to laugh at that? Like, instead of like, because the old program would be like, oh shit, I totally fucked it up. Right? Like when you feed that program, you're like, oh my God, I've been doing it all wrong. I got to call all those people and accept their.
I'm sorry for not accepting your lunch. Please take me out to lunch again. I'll receive it this time.
Or your compliments, right?
And I do that all the time too with lunch, dinner, whatever it is. I do that every time I go somewhere. Yeah. I do it to my husband half the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, no, I have it. And he just looks at me and he's like, it's our money. Like,
yeah.
It's our,
whether you pay or I pay, I'm paying.
I do that to him. I do it to everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good practice, right? Just looking at how much are we giving and how much are we receiving, and what's the feeling behind when we're doing either or, right? Like this week, it would be really cool for you guys just to observe what comes up as you love yourselves in the morning, and you guys take the time to acknowledge and just shine so much and shower yourselves with love, right? Like throughout your morning routine, that you guys take a shower, if you guys shower in the mornings, just loving all aspects of yourselves and stating the different things that you love about yourself and why, and the different characteristics, the different skill sets, and making it like so normal that you can list off 15, 20, 30, 50 things without even taking a breath.
But I also like I recognize the inherent value within myself, because that also leaves you open to the universe opening a door that you haven't discovered yet. Don't fall into I'm reciting the 10 things that I can think of off the top of my mind, because all you're doing is you can be just rehashing from the mind, right?
Good point.
I would much rather discover and connect with. The funny thing is when you do discover it, you're like, oh, I knew it was there all along. But it's funny, I didn't think that was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Like, again, I never thought I would be paid to do the work that I do today, because I was like, why would anybody want to pay you just to have a conversation? Right? Like when I did my whole guidance counselor thing in high school, they were like, oh, you'll be a lawyer or a teacher. And I was like, this doesn't describe me at all. Right? But in the 90s, unless you were going to be a psychiatrist or psychologist, there was no like, who's going to pay you to sit and talk. Right? And those things didn't interest me either. But when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I was doing all along. Right? It was having these conversations with these sorts of conversations with people. I loved continuing to cultivate, and I wouldn't have given it these words, but my own consciousness to be able, I would always think like, well, what's another way of experiencing this? What's a new way of What's a new perspective on this that's never been examined before or never been explored? Or what's a new depth of emotion that I've never journeyed through this before, right? And I didn't realize, I thought this was normal because I thought everybody did this. And it was just, people would always walk away and be like, wow, that was amazing. But I never thought anybody would actually want to pay you for it. Until I realized and I finally accepted, my life showed me again and again, people wanting to pay me for it. And I was like, oh no, it's okay. It was just a conversation, right? And then I was like, wait a minute. I am so wired for perspective that other people just aren't wired for. So just, can I accept that that's my inherent value or one of my inherent values? And that's profoundly valuable, right? And then very quickly, I went from charging people like $50 for a phone conversation to $500 because I recognize the value. I finally own the value instead of feeling like, oh no, well, if I didn't give them something physical, technically I'm ripping them off if I charge them more than $100, right?
Maybe I'll give them value.
Meanwhile, their whole lives would be changed and I'm like barely paying my bills, right? Like they'd be like, wow, my whole business took off, see ya, right? Like, so just, I recognize there is inherent value within me. And just, that's it. Again, the big key is there is like, okay, if I'm willing to repattern my nervous system, the universe is saying it's ready to be unlocked. And let that wow me, right? And watch you be blown away by what's always been inside of you and you've always known was there, but you discounted or never realized how amazing, because it is so beyond your wildest dreams of what is cultivatable in you, what is available in you, because you're discounting it all the time just by thinking you're not good enough yet, right? And again, Rod says this stuff all the time. It's like, you don't need us. You don't need these calls. It's great. I'm glad you're here. Like, I love engaging this with you. But I don't believe for 1 second. I know that in each and every one of you, there is unlimited value. And you don't need any of this, right? Nor do I. If this all went away tomorrow, we'd all be fine. As long as you remember to feel good about yourself and remember that that's your work, it'll all be fine.
But imagine, like, look at how simple life is really meant to be. Like, that's all you have to do is feel good about yourself. Not about the world, not about the work you do, not about what you're doing, but just feel good about yourself. That's it.
And yet that's the hardest thing because we're so used to pain. And that's it. It's just realizing, oh, wow, I'm so familiar with pain. I'm actually unconsciously seeking more pain, right? Even when goodness is coming to me, I seek pain by not accepting it, right? And it's funny because for me, when somebody doesn't accept, I feel their pain. So that's actually painful for me when somebody can't accept, whether it's compliment or money or like, it's funny, even just in like the condo that we stayed at last month, we left her flowers and a card and money and she returned the money, right? And we were like, no, we wanted to at least pay for the utilities and the internet. And she was like, give it to people who really need it. And that was her not accepting, right? Which again, I was like, okay, fine, I'll take back my abundance. But there was another part of me that was like, I felt the pain of her not being worthy of $500. It wasn't even a lot of money, right? It was so painful for her to receive that. I was like, oh, it was weird to get the money back and not feel, it's weird to get money, cash in your hand and not feel great about it, right?
But at the same time, we were saying it's like, oh, okay, we cannot not receive it.
Yeah.
Because we knew how uncomfortable she felt about it.
Yeah.
So us trying to push it back on her would just prevent, like, it'll block us from more abundance in our life.
And that's what we're doing all the time, right? If you're so used to feeling crappy about yourself, there's stuff coming to you and you're rerouting it. And that's where you're like, where's my stuff? You keep rerouting it away from you because you don't feel good about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that simple.
It's like, I'll get there when I learn this.
Yeah.
I'll get there when I do that.
I'm not at that level yet,
Yeah.
right? I'm not as good as them yet.
So the universe says, okay, money goes that way. But then as soon as you start owning and accepting and realizing when it comes your way, you're able to receive it with open arms as opposed to, where's it at? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So get excited about where you notice you're uncomfortable. right? Because you're like, ooh, this is exactly what my subconscious needs to start getting familiar with. And feel how exciting it is to be like, oh, I'm excited to actually feel comfortable here. I'm excited for someone to be like, damn, girl, you sexy. And I'm like, you know it. Not in an arrogant way, but in a genuinely feel good way, that when you say that because you feel it, they feel good. Right? Think of all the blessings you're going to give the world, Caressa, as you just love yourself more. You'd be like, thank you very much. I'll take that money. Right? Thank you very much. I'll take that compliment. You are so amazing. And to go, thank you for seeing me. Right? Do you see how it now gives that person permission to receive? Because they go, oh, that's an answer I never even contemplated saying before. You could say, thank you for seeing me. That actually felt so good. I want to say that next time somebody gives me a compliment that I'm uncomfortable with. Right? It's profound.
Oh, let me give you more.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Ange? You're all comfy with all of it?
Yeah, I feel good, actually.
I know, I can tell. You're all like, this is my jam.
I know, I am. I'm loving it. I feel like you've been in my head for like the past 3 or 4 days, though.
Oh, were you in my head?
They're talking to me. Trish actually sent me a message. She's like, holy fuck. They're talking straight to us. And I was like, yeah, they are.
You're not supposed to tell them.
We knew already, Trish. I'm in your inbox.
It's so true. I'm like, I just sent her a message and I'm like, oh my God, they're speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel really good. Like, it makes so much sense what you're saying, like having that value in yourself first, you know, that's where everything comes from, right?
It's funny too, side note, like what I've really noticed with Astara, we've had some moments of anxiety, and rather than dealing with the anxiety, when I go to, what are 5 things you love about yourself? The anxiety immediately evaporates. There is no anxiety, right? And she's able to just switch gears just like that. And it's interesting because the more that we've been doing it, the more the things that were anxiety inducing for her, like I'm noticing every day the anxiety is substantially coming down, right? Where before I was trying to give her tools and like rationally talk to her and breathe and hold her. And yeah, I was still doing those things, but just going into, you know what I really love about you? You know what's so amazing about you? You know what? Man, I love these moments with you. It's really? Tell me more, right? And again, a child hasn't been trained out of, it's okay to feel good about myself, right? Like she spends hours a day in front of the mirror being like she's feeling herself, right? Where again, I remember doing that and being shamed. My mom would catch me and be like, you're full of yourself, right?
It's so funny. Today I was having a conversation with her. We were in bed reading, and she's talking to me, but she's just looking at the mirror. I was like, what are you doing? She's looking at herself like, oh, you're checking yourself out, aren't you?
Yeah. But that's it, right? We've been trained out of that's somehow not okay. Where go back to the mirror, go back to feeling yourself, because that's what we all did as kids, right? When we were starting to, and that's the funny thing. I really remember, I don't know if any of you have this recollection or have had this experience, but I remember looking in the mirror and loving my physical form, and also realizing my physical form wasn't who I am. It was like I was looking at this dress that I was wearing, and I was like, is it you ever walk by a mirror and you're like, oh shit, there's someone in my house. And you're like, oh no, that's me. It's almost like you don't recognize yourself because you're just seeing the physical form, even though it doesn't necessarily match in that moment the light that you are. Does that make sense? So it's like you see yourself, but it almost looks like a stranger because who you are is so much bigger than that physical form. So again, I remember spending hours in a mirror and just trying to just grabbing my face, being like, is this real? Like, who is this? This is so weird, right? And I would have profound appreciation for it. until I learned that that wasn't okay, or that was egotistical, or I was going to become obsessed with myself, or all of the things, the fear things, right? But go back to the mirror and go and just recognize the value that is within you, and realizing that that is separate and apart from the physical you, but that loving yourself, feel and experience as you watch how good it is for your body for you to love yourself. Engage with it in that level. Go to the mirror and do that. And again, you don't have to be like, I love you, you're amazing, but just look at it and be like, oh, you're a weird being. You're a weird looking thing, right? You've changed over the years. You don't look quite like, because when was the last time you really took a good look at yourself in the mirror? Right? Versus kids that spend hours in front of the mirror. Right? It's like, I don't want to be vain.
It's mostly me.
Quick check. It's mostly you. Yeah. He doesn't know. He's not. He's not. Yeah.
He's just purely confident in who he is.
Yeah.
You are too.
Yeah,
Maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm just reading your comment, Dan. In Korea, in order to tip anyone, you have to offer 3 times before they can accept. It's exhausting.
Totally. It's like, fine, I won't leave a tip then.
I know. And they're like, no, that's the game. But I was like, in Mexico, you have to barter everything. They expect you to barter everything because they like that. For me, that was just exhausting. I'm like, just give me your bottom line price, man. I hate this game. This is stupid. But then by the end of living there, I was like, okay, yeah, I know you're going to say that. I'm going to that.
Or it's funny, too, if you give them exactly what they're asking for, they're surprised.
They're disappointed.
They're like,
they're
damn,
actually pissed
I wanted
off.
the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean
Yeah.
you're going to give me what I asked for?
Yeah.
They were expecting to have that combo.
But again, those are all things, when you think about it, those are all distractions from who you are. That somehow that winning at this game makes you something like, right? Like this is what's really interesting about culture. Although some part of culture is amazing and there's definitely a sense of community and all that, but there's a lot of culture that we've taken and accepted and just accept as normal that is highly, highly dysfunctional, right? So again, it's funny because I was like, my father's Croatian, my mother's French. I always felt really lucky that I wasn't raised in one culture. It was almost like because I was raised in 2 cultures, I could see the dysfunction in each culture because I was like, the French don't do it this way and the Croatians don't do it. Like, you're messed up and you're messed up, right? So I felt like I kind of grew up without a culture in a sense because I was able to really, where I look at some of my friends that are like just Italian or just Croatian and there was so much, this is so normalized. Like, oh, I'd be like, why is your family shouting? And they're like, they're not shouting. This is how we talk. And I was like, you're all yelling and no one is aware that they're yelling, right? And that everything has to be a fight. That's the other thing. It's like, oh, we can't just agree. That's what loving each other is to constantly not support each other. Like, oh yeah, you want to be a comedian? Well, you're probably going to fail. That's your mother loving you, being like, you know, if I'm tough on you, then you'll survive the world, right? Like all of these things that we just, but again, it's all of culture that has taught us not to feel good about ourselves. Right? I mean, even if you look at TV culture, if you look at all of advertising, I'm sorry, anything that is real truth doesn't need a billboard with a model they paid like $45 million to convince you that you need that thing, right? Everything that is culturally, and I'm not anti-consumerism, I love to shop, right? But when I look at that, when I look at advertising, when I look at, and it's funny when we're talking to marketers, when I look at a lot of marketing, and this is where I have a lot of like, I would much rather just the truth. And I resonate with a lot more when I see marketing that is authentic and that you're just giving me the information and I can feel that you're really in alignment with me. No question. I buy it. 100%. Take my money, right?
Yeah, you don't need no long sales letter.
But when you have to convince me and you need a lot of things and reasons and you're talking me in circles, this is pure 100%, I do not need this, and this is not truth, right? Yeah. So even for yourself, right? Anything that we've ever done as far as marketing goes, like we've had hired copywriters before, and I was like, this doesn't feel good to me. I can't, there's no alignment with this. And I actually feel like it's making me have lower self-esteem having to put this out and having to like hide information or because this is the strategy behind it. Like this is me saying, I believe people are stupid, which is me saying that I believe I'm stupid for believing this person who's trying to convince me. Right.
Well, even look at everything that you guys have, seen that we've put out for you guys. There's no long sales letter. There's no pitch. It's just the information of what it is. You make a decision if you're in alignment, and that's it. There's no fluff. It's just is what's in front of you. And if you're in alignment, then you're in alignment. If not, it's okay too.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And that's it. When you're in truth, when you feel good about yourself and you're in truth, you draw to you other people who are exactly that and there as well. Versus if you're using these tactics and you don't feel good about yourself, who are you drawing to you? Other people that don't feel good about themselves. So now you've just drawn to yourself a whole lot of projects and a whole lot of dragging and a whole lot of coaching and a whole lot of, versus people that are like, I have value, put me to work, show me what to do, and I'm going to go to work. Right? So again, if your business is a lot of babysitting, it's probably because you haven't felt good about yourself, right? And everything outside of you that you're drawing to is just a reflection of that, right? So again, you don't have to go change anything. The only thing you have to change is start feeling good about yourself and watch how your business changes. Watch how certain people drop away. Watch how other ones start being drawn to you. Watch how you start to have different ideas. Watch how you start to, maybe partner with different people. It all starts to change the moment you make your number one priority feeling good for you. And again, this totally piggybacks on what we were talking about last week, right? Intention versus goal. What is your intention? If your intention is feeling good about yourself, you're going to reach all your goals and surpass them, right? Let your goal be your driver of why you need to feel good about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How's Donna? We haven't talked to Donna in a while. Are you there, Donna?
I am. I'm sick.
Oh, you have a cold?
Yeah, I do. But I've been listening to everything and my mind has been going pretty much hell-bent because everything has been, it feels like you're just like inside my head listening to everything of the negative self-talk going on throughout my entire life, and it's bringing up things like crazy, and it's like, wow, I didn't know that was there. So it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And isn't it great? You don't really need much energy to do this work either. You could just lie in bed and feel totally physically miserable. But watch as you start to, again, acclimatize your nervous system. You're 100% going to boost your immune system by starting to love yourself more.
Totally.
Guarantee you, loving yourself more, your body's going to just go, okay, now we can literally release all these patterns. You're going to have a massive release, which may be a poop or a cry. Either one's good, right?
Yeah.
You're going to flush out a bunch of toxins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know for myself, the whole like beautiful thing, that really, I honestly, when I hear that word, I can feel like the tension, like just coming in. So that's, I think, where I'm going to focus this week, because I know I've struggled with that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
what does your mind tell you? Like what's the line? Like, what do you have to get to be beautiful? Like, when are you worthy of actually accepting that?
I don't know, because when I hear the word now, I don't believe it. And there was a time that I did. But I think probably what put the nail on the head was when I had just actually, believe it or not, met my husband. We had a really weird relationship where he's like, I really like you, and this is going really well, but it's like a whole like physical attraction thing or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, there we go. I guess I'm not beautiful. And so now he tells me that I'm beautiful. His perspective has definitely changed, but mine has not, because I'm sitting there going, yeah, but you didn't back then. And letting go of that I think that's where it really has come from. So
You know what's funny though, as you're talking, your voice is so beautiful. Like, honestly, I feel like I could listen to you talk all day.
And that's funny because I was talking to my husband earlier and he told me that my voice was sexy. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, like I feel like crap. How is this possible? But okay. So
Yeah, your voice is
thank
super
you.
sexy. You've got super sexy radio voice. See, even Astara agrees. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll find my calling.
Yeah. One of the amazing inherent values that will be revealed to you. Yeah.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
I can't believe I shared that, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, there's a fear there. What's the fear that if you believe you're beautiful, it's like your ego has decided not to believe you're beautiful to protect you from something.
I think it's a fear that if I start believing in myself, I'll be like glass, and somebody can come and shatter that reality. I think this.
Yeah, so it's like if I already don't think I'm beautiful and someone's like, you're ugly, it's not too far to fall down, right? Because I'm like, I was already halfway down there. Whereas if I actually really believe I'm beautiful and someone's like, you're ugly, oh man, that's gonna hurt. That's a far fall.
Yeah, and I think that moment is kind of where things shattered, and I'm still sitting there, still trying to pick up the pieces. I mean, I've definitely come a long way, but there's still things floating in there, obviously, for it to come up tonight. Because I haven't thought of that in forever.
Mm-hmm. And feel how, in this case, mastery is, and this is for everyone, I feel my value so profoundly. I see my inherent beauty so profoundly that even if someone came up to you and were like, you're an ugly bitch, it would almost be like they were talking about someone else. You could hear that, but because you're so connected to your value and your beauty, you would realize that what they're seeing isn't actually you. They're interacting with something that's their own trauma that they're projecting onto you. Because that's the reality of every interaction that we have with anyone anyways. But the thing is what we do, what our ego does, and a lot of people that are empathic, so are highly sensitive and they feel other people's emotions, a lot of what we do with the I'm not beautiful, you're actually, I guess the word is empathizing. You're actually empathizing with the fear your ego has of your power when you know the truth of who you are. Because your ego knows that when you know the truth of who you are, none of that shit has any power over you. You see it for what it is, which is, it's funny. It's like, again, we're not here to, like I was saying, change the patterns. But when you're so connected to light, there is no darkness in your presence. Even if someone tries to bring darkness, it just literally dissolves to dust. Does that make sense?
It does.
So your fear of not being beautiful is you having an empathic reaction to your ego's fear about the truth of who you are. So again, can you see that as actually an ego trip? You're actually, oh, okay, I'm not beautiful. Because my ego's tripping on I'm not beautiful, because if I owned my beauty, my ego would now be the servant to my consciousness and not the other way around.
And that I'd have to embrace success, which is a scary thought. Yeah, that makes total sense.
But you wouldn't even have to embrace success, because see, that's another egoic it thinking it has to embrace. You are success. You are right now full of inherent value. You are right now as beautiful as you have ever been. So any fear of success is an it from the ego. It's another projection. It's almost just like a thing that it puts up to keep you from experiencing the truth of who you are, because it keeps you in that hyper extended state of like, oh, I'm not there yet, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly how it feels. I fall into like procrastination mode, and it's not because I don't want to do something. It's because I'm sitting there going, what can I do that I'm good at? So yeah, exactly. Totally. Oh my God.
And isn't it nice to know that there's nothing for you to do now other than feel good, learn to feel good in your nervous system about yourself? That is I would say that's the only work that you have to do, because any work you do now that's not from feeling good about yourself is pointless, futile work that will just lead you back to this place, right?
Yes.
This is the starting point, and not only is it the starting point, it's the ongoing point throughout the journey, right? When you stamp everything with, I see the inherent value that is in me, I am so valuable, I am so beautiful, everything you do is stamped with that. Versus being stamped with, I'm afraid of success, I'm a procrastinator, blah, 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 right? Which again, you know, none of those things are true. It's just you empathizing with your ego. It's you being like, oh, it's like him feeling sorry about himself and me being like, oh, okay, I'll feel sorry about you too, because I want to empathize so much. Instead of me going, that's cool, you feel like sorry for yourself, but the truth is you're fucking amazing.
Ooh, thanks.
And you're so handsome, and you're so capable, and you're so creative, and you're so grounded. Like, you see the truth? It's okay that he feels sorry about himself, but it still doesn't make it true, right?
It's when it's when we fall into it and join them in thatness.
You join yourself in the it
in it.
Right.
And it's funny because I can see it so much in other people, but sometimes I guess you just definitely don't see it in yourself. So, yeah.
It doesn't see it in itself.
Yes.
Yeah. Because who you are sees everything and knows everything and is perfectly healed.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Sexy voice.
Oh.
I can't wait to see you next week. Superstar.
That's right. I was just thinking about that too. Superstar.
That was a good movie. If nobody knows that, do you guys know that movie? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Trish.
I love that movie. That's a great movie. I should watch that movie again. Yeah. The Lunge. She's great.
Totally.
Yeah. Thank you, Donna. Appreciate you sharing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So y'all feeling a little bit more comfortable with being valuable? Just a teeny bit more comfortable?
Just a wee bit.
You don't have to get there all at once.
You know, if this call moved you in any way or made you feel anything, I highly recommend you guys listen to the replay and watch it. Listen to the replay, because you know on the membership site there's the video, but then there's just the actual audio. I'd listen to the audio so you don't get distracted with the video and like the beautifulnesses of us.
Because we are incredibly distracting with our hotness.
But that way you can just listen to it and you can really hear and feel the words as opposed to your eyes filtering things out. And again, allow yourself to sit in it, you know, so.
And again, feeling your value may also bring up more its, right? And realizing, again, noticing where your ego's looking for like, oh, wait, but wasn't I supposed to all feel good? It may bring up another area where you feel bad, right? And that's just a shedding. There's nothing that you need to do. Just be with it. That's it. Wow. There's an aspect of me Like, again, that's why I was saying at the beginning of the call, like, how would you move if you couldn't fall? Because I noticed the more I started just consciously recognizing the inherent value that was in me, a voice came up of like, what if everything falls apart? What if you fail? There was no rational reason why that came up, but I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I have to lead with tonight, because that's the voice that's been coming up for me. And I didn't try to change. I was just like, oh, I'm giving you, because I have for years silenced that voice. Okay, no, I can't listen to that voice. Everything will be fine. You never fail. People, no matter how many times you fail, and I've tried to rationalize it. Instead of, again, somebody coming to you being like, I'm scared. And like, you're not scared. You're fine. Just let that person be scared. Leave space. They just need to be heard. I am leaving space for you to come up, and I'm continuing to honor the inherent value that is within myself. It makes sense that as you raise your value, everything that's blocking you from fully experiencing that value in your nervous system is kind of going to get squeezed up and out to the surface, right? And again, there's nothing for you to do but to, okay, I'm afraid of falling, and I recognize there's inherent value within me. And shout as loud as you need to, and there's still inherent value within me.
That's right.
I'm still brilliantly creative, even though I feel blocked. Oh my God, you've never been more blocked. Okay, there's another it, right? Cool. You're terrified that you're blocked forever. You're terrified you'll never activate your full creative potential. You're terrified. I hear you. You've been screaming for years. I'm sorry I haven't listened, right? And I'm still going to train my subconscious that I'm infinitely creative, even though my subconscious is like, no, you're not, right? Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing, right? It's being able to just be the observer and just acknowledge what comes up and just notice what comes up. Because that's it. It's going to come up. It will come up.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that it's going to come up makes it that much easier to identify it and to observe it and to acknowledge it. And then you can move on from there. But when we say, oh, it's never going to come up. Oh, I'm okay now. I moved past that. Shoot, it's come up for me, over the weekend.
Shit comes up for us all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Came up for me this morning.
And instead of hating it or feeling like, why we're not past that, we're like, yes, right? I can feel the resistance. I'm so keen because it's just resistance, right? But I know that you trust the process. You just trust, and you just be with it, right? And stop expecting this idea of perfection that, again, you're being sold on a billboard, because that's not truth. That's why they have to spend $45 million for that one photograph, right? There's a lot of Photoshop editing that's going into that because it's not truth.
Yeah.
Truth needs no defending, right? Truth needs no justification. Truth just is, right?
So this week, enjoy the inherent value that's within yourself. Enjoy loving all aspects of yourself.
We're all beautiful, y'all.
That's right.
And brilliant.
That's right.
And amazingly heart-centered and kind, and we know who we are. Yeah.
So beautiful. Awesome, guys. Well, enjoy the rest of your week. I'll have the replay up tonight. So yeah, listen to the audio. Don't watch the video. If you want to, go ahead. But I do suggest listening to the audio. Don't do it,
but do it if you want to.
Yeah. So that's me manipulating you guys. You like that?
Do it, but don't do it. Go within. Find your own answers.
Do what works for you.
Love yourself, and your intuition will be activated.
Awesome, guys. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Catch you guys later.
Guys.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye, guys.
Good night.